watching.
You are watching.
You're watching. You guys are watching. You're watching.
Soulful discussion.
All right, so hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. How did we just meet right now? How did our paths cross?
I was finishing with the workout, and I ran into you in the parking lot.
Yep.
And you asked me if I wanted an interview, and I was like, sure, why not?
Absolutely. And so, what are we talking about today? I gave you 3 topics.
Feet, reflexology, and mental health.
Mental health. Okay. Now, when you hear feet, first thoughts that go through your mind, what do you think about?
The ones down here.
Yep. What do you think about?
Movement, toes,
Okay.
right?
Cool. So we're gonna ask some questions today. You can tell me like what your thoughts are like once we get there. Okay.
Okay.
Mental health. Anything that like you're kind of like invested in or like you like really like to talk about with mental health? Anything you're interested in?
Well, I know it's serious, and I know a lot of people don't really take that into consideration, like at work and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So today we're gonna talk about social media, the impacts it can have on like depression, anxiety.
Right.
So I'd like to get your thoughts like once we get there. Okay. What about reflexology? You kind of said like when I mentioned it, you're like,
yeah, I'm clueless.
What is it?
I literally never heard of that before. So
I bet you have.
Okay.
I usually find like most people have heard about it. They just don't recognize the term.
Right.
So we'll talk about it and then you can tell me what you think. Okay. So let's start with the first question, right? What are your thoughts about how the world is starting to become more aware of mental health and what we're doing about it?
I think that's good. I'm not sure where to start with that.
Yeah.
I think it's about time, because back then they really never really had anything to help for those that had mental health disorders. So now that there's like more resources for people to reach out to, that's really good. Yeah, it's like,
and what I find from most women who I'm interviewing, that they say 15 to 20 years ago, like talking about mental health like really wasn't a thing. Like if you said to somebody like, hey, like I'm depressed or I'm anxious, like people would just be like, try to deal with it the best way you can, which is not always like the best, right? Like, we need to be able to talk and like communicate about how we're feeling, and it's okay to not be okay. Like if you're not feeling okay, it's okay to like express that and just kind of like find a way to like deal with it.
Right. I've also noticed that like it also has to do with like cultures and stuff like that. Like Hispanics, they take it as being lazy if you're depressed. Yeah. So
I think in the colored culture in general, right? Blacks, Hispanic. Right. I even find from some Asian communities like the same thing. It's like that's usually something that we like disregard, and I think it comes down to resources, because like a lot of times we don't have the resources to like spend money on that. So it's like we're gonna have to find a way to do that the best way we can. Absolutely. So in terms of mental health, right? In terms of social media, what are your thoughts about social media, and then how do you use it yourself?
Well, I have like the basics, but the way I use it is just for entertainment. Okay. But I know it does have a huge influence on like younger people, like trends going on nowadays. I know that takes influence on younger people. There is good and there is a bad, but I just feel like if you're on your own and you see these like negative things, well, not negative things, like if you see like a girl body, you will probably feel bad about yourself. But there's different ways you can take it. You can either take it as motivation to better yourself, right? Yeah. Or you can go the other route, which is not the route you want to go.
Yeah, like you start to like become like put more pressure on yourself and become depressed.
Right.
And so I hear a lot from a lot of ladies, they deal with like body dysmorphia.
Right.
Like, it's like even like they may be like very fit and things like that, but like seeing how other women look and they're like, oh, I don't look like that. So yeah, I definitely think that's something I feel like women tend to deal with that a lot more, just because there's more social pressures like around like looking at models and different things like that. So I definitely think it's something that's interesting.
Right.
In terms of social media, let's say somebody came to you and said, here, change whatever you want about it, in terms of like making it better or anything like that. Is there anything that you would change?
In social media? Like in general?
In general, yeah.
Personally, the way I view social media, I'm not really like delicate for what I see on social media. As long as I'm not being the target, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like if I do see something, maybe what I would change is, I'm not sure how it works with like Instagram and stuff, maybe being more on time when people post inappropriate things.
Oh, okay. So do you mean like,
so when someone reports something, not to take, because it's still up there after you make a report after 15 or 20 minutes.
It takes time to like for it to come down.
And by then, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen it, because there's been times where I've been on TikTok and I see inappropriate things. And I'm like, what is going on? How is this have not been taken down? And
I think that's more of like, so you would change like something with the algorithm to like make sure that like there's something that like it filter it out quickly, like certain things being shown or whatever like that, or words or stuff like that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, also like people use social media to voice their own opinions, so it's really
that to me that's a big one. Like we got people who voice their own opinions about different things, and then they try to like put it across like it's fact, and a lot of times it's not fact. It's just like they know how to like wrap it up and make it look really nice, so that it comes across that way. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a big one. In terms of anxiety, right? Is there anything that makes you anxious? And like, you don't have to go too in depth. Maybe just more surface level. Is there anything that like causes that for you?
Anxiety, personally, I've never really. I have friends that have experienced like panic attacks and stuff like that. So I wouldn't know exactly what that feels like. And I feel like that's until I have one of my own.
Yeah, get to it. Yeah.
So I've never really. I can't tell if I've had one or not because I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah.
So in terms of anxiety in general.
Yeah, just being anxious because like, so let's say for me, right? I'm anxious about like large crowds. Like I'm okay with like 25 to 30 people. But when that crowd starts to like get bigger than that and it's like in a smaller space, for me, like it's like something that can cause me to be like a little bit like, okay, because I don't know what other people are planning to do or whatever like that. Sometimes some people don't have the best intentions. So like for me, that's something that like makes me anxious. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've experienced, I guess it is anxiety when I have to speak in front of a large crowd, like public speaking. But I think it's normal. But I mean, I've seen people that are so natural with it, like they know exactly what to say. But I stumble upon my words, I start sweating. Yeah. So something like that. And
some of the things, so like in a situation like that, right? Let's say you had to do that. Somebody wanted you to public speak. Like, what are some things you would do to like counteract the anxious emotions? Yeah.
I know breathing helps a lot. Ever since I was young, my brother always taught me how to like breathe really slow, take deep breaths. So I feel like that helps a lot to calm down. Yeah. And have like a more clear mind. So I feel like if you don't take a step back to like relax, then it's just gonna be a whole chaotic thing.
Evaluate like what's going on and like, regulate your emotions basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things I learned, right, and I just learned this yesterday, it was actually interesting, right? I heard somebody talk about like different breathing techniques, right? A lot of times we tend to breathe from like our diaphragm. Right. But like breathing from your belly in situations like that is actually like a lot better and like can help you like calm those nerves a lot more. Exactly. So yeah, that's something interesting. All right, so let's get into these questions. I'm gonna be intrigued to see what your thoughts are. Okay. All right, how do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
My feet, I'm thankful that they're working.
So do you like them? You don't like them? You don't really think about them? What do we have there?
I like my feet.
You like your feet? Okay, cool.
I don't mind showing them. I don't like looking at other people's feet. I feel like I feel like that makes me.
Somebody else. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like that makes me uncomfortable, but I don't have a problem with my feet.
Okay. Right. In terms of your feet, have you ever received compliments before?
No, I have not.
So you've never experienced a compliment before about that?
Not that I can think of. I mean, besides like the nail polish, but like nothing about like the physical toes.
So let me ask you this. Let's say somebody did compliment you. They said, hey, you have nice feet. How would that make you feel?
I would just say thank you and move on. Right.
All right, nice. So,
I wouldn't want to stay on the topic for too long because...
So would it make you feel uncomfortable because they're saying that?
I would be like, okay, they're checking my feet for a little too long, you know? So I would try to like just say thank you and then like switch the topic or something, you know?
Okay, so let me ask you this. If somebody complimented you, let's say on your hair, your eyes, your smile, would that be different? Would you feel differently about that?
Like uncomfortableness?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'd probably do the same thing with my feet. I'd just be like,
so you would still be like...
Yeah, because then I'd feel like I'd start, like if they compliment my smile, I'd start smiling weird, you know? Like,
oh, okay. So it becomes for you, like when they compliment, then you start to think about like the reasons why, like what is it that I'm doing or something.
Exactly,
I see. Okay, that makes sense. So it's not necessarily that you look at it as a negative. It's just more of like somebody's complimenting you, so it kind of might make you a little giddy or like blushing and things like that. Yeah. I see. Okay. In terms of compliments, right, in general, what are things you prefer to be complimented by? Like if somebody's gonna give you a compliment, you're like, I prefer to receive that compliment.
I think about my personality more than, I mean, like when someone compliments you on your hair or something, that's nice, but I feel like personality wise, I feel more special. Like I think about that longer than if it's like a physical appearance that they call out. So that's something that I prefer.
Absolutely, because to me that's like something that has more depth and it's like something that makes you, right?
Yeah.
The other stuff is like stuff that like a lot of times you can't control. Like I can't control like if my hair, looks good to you or not. Like because to the person, like it's completely objective, right? You don't really like control what they think or what they like how they feel. So like, but in terms of your personality, that's something that makes you you. It's different from everybody else. Absolutely. Yes, in terms of like dating, right? Let's say that you were dating or going to start dating somebody. What is something you would consider to be a potential deal breaker in like somebody you're going to date?
Like with the looks wise?
No. Just something that you would be like, I can't deal with that. Like whether it's a behavior, something personality wise. What are some things?
Maybe. Let me think. I'd say if they have no goals, like if they're just, for example, if they're just thinking of living with their mom their whole life, which is fine. But if you have a plan, that's better. Like for a couple years and then move on, like move out or stuff like that. That and when they're not very like, if they're in their own world too much, that they don't take other people's feelings into consideration.
So empathy.
Yes, empathy. There you go.
Got it.
Things like that.
Okay, cool. So how often do you get pedicures?
Pedicures?
Yeah.
I try to do once a month. Okay. I feel like that's...
Gel pedicure?
Yeah. Okay, gel lasts longer than the regular nail polish. I'm surprised you asked that. Because not a lot of guys know. Like
my girlfriend, she goes and she gets gel. Like, and she used to get regular, but now she gets gel.
Yeah, gel lasts longer. So that makes sense.
So I pay attention to those things. And when I ask these questions, that's something I always pay attention to.
Right.
When they say it's like once a month, I'm like, oh, it's gel for sure.
Yeah. So like once a month. It's just refresh,
Okay.
Yeah, and it's also like it's not even to like keep it with us. Like it makes me feel good after.
So the pampering feeling, the relaxing. Okay.
Right.
Now, are there any colors that you like to get, like a go-to color?
Yes, I like staying like either French tip is like you can't go wrong with French tip, but I like red toned as well.
Okay.
Like
that's dope.
Burgundy,
yeah, okay. So like maybe like a fire engine red or cherry red.
Cherry red,
like
yeah.
Got it. In terms of pedicures, have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
Medical
pedicure,
but I'm guessing that's like when they take out your ingrowns and stuff like that.
So yeah, that's part of it. So like you go see a podiatrist for this, right? They'll take a look at your like feet to make sure your nails grow correctly. Because a lot of people don't know the correct way to like cut their toenails. Like sometimes you end up with ingrown toenails because of that. So they show you how to do that. They tell you like about your toe alignment. They check for like dead skin, fungus. They do all the work there with medical grade equipment. What would your thoughts be on seeing somebody like that? Because it's like more in depth, like information about your feet. Like, how would you feel about that?
I think it's good that that's available for those people that have it instead of sucking it up and living with your ingrown.
Yeah, those
there's people that, I mean, I've seen some really bad cases, so I'm like, good thing they're getting that checked out.
That's probably why you don't like to see other people's feet. Like, I don't want to see it. Don't want to see that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops, things like that?
I feel like the only times I do it is, I'm a sneakerhead, so I wear more sneakers than
so it's for style, I'm guessing.
Right, yeah. So like it's like whenever I go out, like my friends and stuff, like whenever you want to feel like a little bit more on the girlier side, that's when I'll have them out.
Okay.
But like most of the time I'm wearing sneakers.
Okay, that makes sense. How often do you go like barefoot without shoes?
Hardly, because I mean the way I feel like if I walk around like barefoot in my house, like, and I go into my bed,
your feet are dirty at that point.
Exactly, and I just feel comfortable, so I just wear my sandals or my Crocs everywhere. Like, doesn't matter. Like,
got it. Have you ever heard of earthing and grounding before?
No.
So that's like when you go barefoot in grass, dirt, sand. It's something that's supposed to make you feel like the most at one with like nature and earth.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it gives you like a relaxing feeling. So a lot of people who meditate, a lot of times will do that because it's almost like freeing your mind and unclogging mental space. What would your thoughts be on trying something like that? Because I hear it's good for people who are
I would definitely try it. That sounds like fun.
Absolutely.
I would just be scared for splinters and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. I think that those are always fears that we deal with, like, right? But, like, it's more for the feeling. Like, we're going for the feeling. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely try that.
Okay.
It sounds like something I'd do probably in the future.
Cool. All right, so now, can we see what your feet look like?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because they're sweaty and...
All right.
I just got out of the gym.
All right. There's no judgments.
Right.
We don't judge. Like, that's not.
It's kind of weird when it's like on demand.
Okay. So this is part of like one of the exercises we do on the channel. All right. In terms of like mental health. Let me kind of tell you about the mental health, and then we'll circle back and see how you feel. Okay. So the reason why I got started on this channel, I heard about exposure therapy during quarantine. Have you ever? So exposure therapy is for people who overthink situations, right? So they're not good at like making snap decisions. Like they'll overthink it. So for example, let's say somebody is like, for me in the past, like I've, had reservations about like approaching pretty girls, like about asking them out, because I'm like, what if she has a boyfriend? What if she says no? What if she freaks out and I get embarrassed in front of like all these people, right? But in reality, like I don't know what's gonna happen until I actually like go through with it, right?
Right.
So it's for stepping out of your comfort zone. So therapists prescribe for people like that who like deal with that. You have a hard time making decisions. Go out and put yourself in that situation, right?
Right.
And it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable, of course. But when you're in those moments and you start to feel like the anxious feelings and all that stuff like going on, you're supposed to cope with it. Like do a self-assessment. Ask yourself, okay, like is there anything happening to me that's gonna threaten my life? Anything threatening my safety? Anything like that? And if you can't find anything like that, then 9 times out of 10, that situation that you're thinking about is something that's like not gonna happen, and like you should proceed, because sometimes moments like that are there to like push you past your comfort zone so that you can experience life to its fullest.
Right.
So when I heard about that, I was like, that's really dope to me. Like that's something that's really interesting, and like talking to people about getting outside of their comfort zone, right? So I was like, okay, let me take that, let me tie that together with the subject of feet, because a lot of people are uncomfortable about it. A lot of people feel like negative emotions, they're like weird, they think it's negative connotations attached to it. So I'm like, okay, let's attach that together. We interview women, get their thoughts, see how they feel about it, see if they're comfortable enough, like to step out of their comfort zone, to do something that, of course, it doesn't happen every day. Nobody's coming to you every day asking them. But can you step out your comfort zone and like show that like you can be comfortable in the moment?
Yeah,
so,
right.
And I'm doing that because like there's a lot of people out there who like may have an attraction to that, right? But a lot of times they're afraid to express it. Not a fetish, because fetishes are different than like just having an attraction to something, right? Because if somebody's into like breast or butts, right, is that a fetish, or is it just something that they like?
I guess it's something that they like.
So yeah, exactly. So I'm saying it's different unless you like have an over obsession with it, then it becomes a fetish. So, but some people sometimes have an attraction to it, and they're afraid to express it to other people because they're like, I'm gonna get judged. Somebody's gonna look down on me. They're gonna like make fun of me or whatever like that. So my channel is all about getting these different reactions to show like the thought process or what somebody else may think, so that mostly guys who are like it's that thing can feel comfortable expressing that to a woman.
Right.
So what are your thoughts about that? Like in terms of that, like trying to like connecting these things together?
Right. I feel like there's things you can't like. Wait, you're asking me like if it was normal? Like, okay, you want people to feel comfortable, like.
Because I'm trying to normalize the conversation, because a lot of people look at feet, like just how you kind of said, like fetish, right?
Right.
First thing you think about. But a lot of people are not on the fetish side, they just find an attraction. Like they like when a girl gets her nails done and they look nice or whatever like that, and there's like a beauty in that, right? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. We find beauty in many things, right?
Yeah. So
I feel like as long as it's that and it's not something that's hurting people, to me it's a normal thing. And so I'm trying to normalize the conversation so that people don't look at it as being something like that. Like it's a negative thing. It could be more of a positive thing, and people can be comfortable having conversations about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I feel like there's like certain appropriate things you can do in public. You know, like so if you see, and let's see, okay, you don't have fetish, but you like looking at girls' feet.
Okay.
If you see a girl walking down the street and she has her toes out,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna stop and ask her, "Oh, can I see like your toes?" You can just observe from a distance and appreciate them. If that's how you want to do it. But I feel like, going up to a girl and asking her, "Oh, like," or just telling her that you like her feet.
Mm-hmm.
It probably will be taken as a compliment. Probably won't. They're probably gonna walk away and be like, "Oh my god, look at this weirdo" or something. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but we're not saying anybody's doing that. Like,
no.
The reason I'm doing that on the channel is like more as a way to like test the comfort zone, like to see like, can you be comfortable? Can you step outside? Maybe you're not comfortable with that, but can you still step outside and go through it? But for people, I would never suggest for somebody to go up and like be like, hey, like you got your toes up. Can I see them? Like to me, that's not the way to do it. To me, the better way of doing it is starting a conversation, like finding out how her day is, like just kind of talking to her. And then if you want to push in there, like, hey, I kind of noticed that like you have very beautiful feet, like something like that, and just like letting that be it. Like you don't need to like take it any further or anything like that. To me, that would come across as more natural than something else. What do you think?
I feel for like nowadays, I don't think that many women would take it that way. I see it.
You'd be surprised. So because
I probably would be surprised.
Because like a lot of the women on my channel, right? I get women who are like, and this is what I like about it, right? The different reactions I get. I get some women who are completely like, they don't care.
Yeah,
they're like, cool, I'm open. Like, I don't, like, because to them, they don't look at it as something that's like, it's not something negative. For them, it's like, yeah, whatever, it's all good. I get some who are in between. They don't know what to think. They're like, do I want to go this way? Do I want to go that way?
Right.
And then I get some who are like, absolutely not.
Right.
But
exactly.
to me, showing the different reactions can help somebody else, like, who may think like they're gonna get a negative experience, be able to know, like, no, there's people out there who actually do like think this way or think that way. You just have to continuously like go out there and see who you find.
Right. Everybody's different. I feel like it also depends on the woman and what they've experienced in the past.
Yeah, because past trauma can like have an impact on that, right?
Because I mean, there's probably been guys that made them uncomfortable, and
that's true.
I mean, they can take advantage of like using that compliment, like, oh yeah, you're pretty, and then take it somewhere else and start making them feel uncomfortable. So I feel like that can also take a huge role into receiving a compliment on their feet. Got it.
All right, and so in this moment, you're not comfortable showing your feet because you just got to work out.
Right.
Like
I feel like if I already had them out, like if I was wearing sandals or something, I wouldn't have mine. I mean, they're already out, but.
Got it. I got it. I understand. Cool.
And also, I just came from work also, so it's like.
It's all good. Let's talk about reflexology, okay? And then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, cool.
Reflexology is about the different pressure points you actually have in your hands and in your feet, right? Those pressure points connect to different parts of your body. So, for example, through massage, through acupuncture, through acupressure, you can alleviate stress and tension to various parts of your body. So if you're somebody who deals with migraines, there's a portion of your foot and your hand you can massage to like alleviate tension that you feel in those moments.
Right.
There's portions for like kidneys, your lungs, like all kinds of it. It's like a map. They call these different areas zones.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Like something that can help you holistically as opposed to like medications and things like that.
Right. I think that's a good option. I mean, I've heard about the pressure points, and I feel like that's pretty cool. Also, chiropractors, I think that's like something similar, and I feel like that's dope too.
Because they can tell you where the pressure is like, in your body and like alleviate it, right?
Right. I think that's cool.
Okay.
Pressure points and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. So usually during this point, we do like a sensitivity test. I usually ask about like sensitivity. A lot of women are ticklish getting their pedicures, so like there's a trick to that to like kind of help with like alleviating.
There's a trick?
Absolutely.
Oh,
so usually we go over that. So yeah, but maybe we'll save it for another time. Okay. So let's wrap up the interview now. In terms of my approach, coming up to you, asking you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
Personally, like I just thought you were gonna be another person, like bothering me. In a way, in a sense where it's like I'm just used to like weirdos like coming up to me.
No, I can understand.
But I mean, you definitely did like approach me with like fast with like, oh, like do you want to get like interviewed for this and this and that, and it sounded legit. And then you showed me the YouTube channel, and I was like, okay, I think this is like a good person. But yeah, I feel like just because I've experienced so many like random people going up to me in parking lots, I
can understand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I feel like the way you did it was pretty good.
All right, thank you. Now, in terms of the interview, right, start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like
nice.
It was like a good schedule routine or whatever that you want to call it. But
okay.
The way everything just blended with each other.
Nice. Okay. So the last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, a life lesson that maybe you learned, some wise words somebody once said to you that you could share on my channel that might be helpful.
Everything happens for a reason. So if like a minor inconvenience happens to you right there and then, just tell yourself everything happens for a reason and move on. Don't like dwell on it so much, because that's how like you'll have that icky feeling for it'll last longer than when you can just tell yourself everything happens for a reason and then move on with your life. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you stopping to do this interview with us.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
All right, and we hope that you have a great one.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Cool.